Welcome to the Gloves Up podcast, presented by Kansas City, and I'm your host, for the time being, Cam F. Awesome, accompanied by my guest today, Mitt Master Melvin Wesley.
Right.
It's good, man.
Man, everything.
Everything's good?
Yes, sir. Can't complain.
You're from Pound for Pound.
Yes, Pound for Pound Elite Boxing Academy.
How long have you been around?
I've been around, man, for 45 years. I've been around boxing around 45 years, you know. I'm actually 49, but I've been around the boxing game for 45 years. And I've actually had my own gym now for about, I'll say, 15, 16 years.
Cool. So you were a fighter back in the day?
Yeah, I was a fighter, man. My brother made me do it when I was about 4 or 5 years old. Didn't want to do it, but he made me do it, so I'm glad he did.
Started about 4 or 5 years old. Do you have any boxing matches?
Yes. I got 127 wins, 126 wins, and it was 7 or 9 losses, something like that. But, you know, hey, I was doing my thing, you know.
Nice.
Can't complain.
Nice. So what age did you ever turn pro?
I turned pro, and I had one fight and broke both hands. I broke my left in the first round and broke my right in the second round. And so my coach was like, you know, I think we need to back out of this and get your hands fixed, but it was actually too late. I had broken too many times in the amateurs. Yeah. So when I turned pro, I couldn't really have a pro career because being the fact that you got smaller gloves and then you got the headgear, and then I had a doctor tell me, he was like, how you going to do this, man, when you
punching skulls?
Yeah, punching skulls with smaller gloves. He said your hands they're not going to hold up. He said, you're going to break them every time. How you going to do 12 rounds if you can't do 3?
Yeah. It can be argued that I'm not a doctor,
right? But
2 broken hands are probably not a good thing.
Nah. And I kept breaking them. I broke this one like 4 times and broke this one 3 times. So
what was that heartbreaking for you?
Yeah, man, I cried like a baby when they told me that I couldn't
age
do it
were
no
you?
more. I believe I was 27, 28.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I had to let it go.
So that brings me to an important part. So a lot of boxers, when they think about their career, they just think about boxing forever.
Yeah.
And I was a little different in the sense that I was boxing with a purpose to leave the game.
Okay.
And most boxers don't have a plan for that transition out of sports.
Right.
Now you turned pro, it didn't work out because your hands, you transitioned into becoming a gym owner, a successful gym owner.
That's right.
So you have a 16-year-old who's out here kicking ass.
Yeah, he's doing his thing.
He's doing his thing.
Jr. Yes, sir.
Tell us about Melvin.
Oh, man. He been, you know, when he was younger, I say about 3, that's when I noticed. I used to bring him to the gym while I was training people, and he would be in there just shadow boxing. I'll be working the mitts with someone, and he'd be outside the ring mocking everything I called out. And I had someone was like, man, do you see your son? And before I even noticed, so I'm calling combinations, and I'm looking at him, and he's out there with the stepping, and I'm like, wait a minute. I ain't never really even showed you the stepping part. So I was like, okay, all right, well, let's do this. I didn't really want to push it up on him because, you know, boxing is a very brutal sport. So I didn't want to push it up on my kids. And I said, listen, you guys don't have to fight. I said, but I'm going to show you as a dad, I got to show you how to, you know, handle yourself. And I bring him to the gym, man, and he was just beating kids up left and right, no matter, like, if they was heavier, older. And so I said, okay, maybe this is something for you. So I put some time into it, man, and now he's handling his business.
So what has he accomplished in his 10-year career?
He's won the Nationals 6 times. And he's just out there taking names, man. He's been number 1 like 3, 4 different times. Now he didn't fight in his last tournament, so he got kicked down to number 3 or 4, one of those. But he'll be back on top again, you know, when we go to out to the next Nationals. One of the things is I can't get him fights down here in Kansas City, so every time he fights, he's fighting in the Nationals, so he never really get tune-ups.
Oh, okay. So what, just the idea of, so you were 27 when you realized you needed, so boxing wasn't it, you had to transition out. What do you foresee your son's plan looking like as someone, as a father who understands the game?
Well, I foresee him taking it to the next level, you know, as well as he do. You know, he trains hard, you know, but, you know, now what's kind of scary to me, that's why I'm wrapping his hands, because every now and again he would have little hand problems, you know, when he hit. So hopefully I can get him taped up and, you know, and train him much better than I was and get his hands trained and do what we can to make sure he don't have the problems Pops had.
Yeah, see, y'all problem is y'all hit hard. I never hit hard,
right.
So I never had any hand issues.
Right.
Yeah, that was, and I would see dudes who had power because I didn't. I knew I didn't have the boxing style to knock people out, so I didn't even give the effort.
Right.
My thing was points.
Yeah.
So I never had the hand issues, but I see fighters who do have power, they constantly have hand issues. What do you do to protect your son's hands?
Oh, now I'm wrapping them good and I'm putting tape on it. You know, it's the tape. See, back in the day, it was a little bit different. You know, my coaches never wrapped my hands good at all. They was terrible hand wraps. And so when I get in there, man, I guess they wasn't protected. So I make sure I wrap his hands pretty good so he don't have that problem. But he still like had a little fracture once, and he still won the tournament. But you know, hey, shoot, I'm just hoping that we can get past that, and you know, maybe we can get some more calcium in him so he can keep it moving.
Yeah. So I know you. So you have Lil Melvin in your gym. Is that what you? Does he go by Lil Melvin?
Yeah, Little Melvin.
All right. So you got Lil Melvin in gym. How many fighters do you have?
Oh man, I got a lot of them. I got a lot of them, but you know, a lot of them, most of them is kind of beginners. So you know, it's taking them a little while. You know, boxing don't come overnight, so it's taking them.
What age do you suggest someone join boxing?
Well, I start them at 5. I start them at 5, although you can't fight till you 8. But I start them at 5 because I believe once you get that in your system, by the time you turn 8, then you ready. You're really ready.
So what if someone's significantly older?
Well, I have some old as in like,
I mean,
old as in 50s or.
Well, first of all, when people talk about old, it is perspective, because there's some 80-year-olds out there that will call your grandma a little girl.
Yeah.
Because she's like 60 or something. Yeah. So, but like in the fight world, do you take on fighters that are over the age of 8?
I do.
How old?
I take them all the way up to 100 if they want to come in.
From 8 to 80.
From 8 to 80.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Where's your gym located?
It's on 103rd, 10324 Maston Street, right off 103rd and 69 Highway, right next to that Skate City.
Skate City. Yes. I used to do. I was in a roller hockey league at Skate City. Way more dangerous than boxing.
Right.
As only concussion that I remember getting. I was doing
from skating.
Skating, bro. I be seeing people do stuff and I want to try it too. Yeah. And there's this girl, it was a men's league, but there was a girl who was playing with us, and she was so cold that she played with men.
Right.
And she was better than all of us. Okay. And she subbed out, and I was on the bench with her, and I was like, oh, how do you do that thing where you go real fast and you just stop? And then she told me how to do it, and she says she teaches little kids to do it. And a lot of the problem with kids is they don't trust it.
Right.
So they panic halfway through.
Because they don't know if they're going to stop it.
They don't know if they're going to stop it or not. She said you have to trust the process.
Right.
That's all I need to hear. I get subbed in. I get a fast break. I'm not even that fast, but fast as I can go. And I saw it, and I trusted it. I was like, I hit it. I did what she said. And I basically baseball slid into the wall. Out of my 8 wheels on my blades, only one of them was remaining. 7 wheels came off.
Wow.
And I was driving to the gym the next day, that evening. So it was like, let's say Wednesday evening was the league. Thursday evening, I'm driving to the gym. And that's the only thing I remembered.
Wow.
And so I was like, okay, I don't even remember packing my bags, go to the gym that day. I don't remember lunch that morning. I don't remember waking up that morning.
Wow, man.
And I couldn't, feel like not hungover, like nothing too crazy happened. And I went back the following week with my blades still in my bag and everything. Didn't realize they were broken.
Right.
And they're like, yo, man, you took a hard hit last week.
Right.
And I put together, I got a concussion. Now,
man,
that's never happened to me in 400 fights in boxing.
Oh, that's crazy.
So I say boxing's a little more safe than people think it is.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, I had about 130, over 130 fights. I had over 130 fights, and I've never had a concussion. Never really been hurt. Never been dropped. None of that. But boy, did I do some dropping. Yeah. Like I said, I won the Kansas City Golden Gloves 8 years in a row, and I won the Nationals in '96 and '97. And then I ended up getting a record deal, and I had to move. I moved to California and
like rapping.
Nah, not singing.
Sing?
Nah, yeah,
oh, word.
I was singing. Yeah, we had a video out there. The name of the group was Money. We had a video with No Limit, Cain and Abel. So
okay.
We was out there doing it, and then the Golden Gloves was coming up while I was out there, and I'm like, I got to train for the Golden Gloves while I'm living out in Cali, and they was like, nah, man, we got to be up here. I said, man, that's my first love. I got to go do this. So I trained and came home to fight, and the guy wouldn't even fight me, so it was crazy.
Walkovers.
I walked over that time. I actually walked over twice, you know, but ended up fighting the same guy pretty much. You know, it ain't very many smaller guys down here. But
what weight were you fighting at?
I fought at 119 and 125 and fought 132 a couple of times. Yeah, a couple of times. And I was doing my thing, man. And back then we used to fight every weekend. That's how I calculated all those wins, you know, and a lot of knockouts, man. The first 2 guys I fought in Kansas City went the distance. Everybody I fought after those 2 guys never went the distance in Kansas City again. I stopped everybody, stopped them and knocked them out.
Wouldn't that be a lot easier for me? Man, I had to fight the whole fight.
So it was a beautiful situation. Never been dropped, man.
Never been dropped. Man, I was fighting in Azerbaijan in the World Championships, and this dude, he was from Kazakhstan. Dude was big as a house. Like, I didn't realize how big he got till we were both in the ring together, and the ring got real small. And in the first round, he threw some BS punch, and the ref stopped in and gave me an 8 count. Wasn't hurt, and I was upset about it. In the second round, he hit me. My whole body went numb, bro.
Whoa.
My whole body went numb. And I was like, it hit me at that moment. It was like, oh, when you see dudes get hit and they stumble around, it's because they can't feel where their legs are.
Right.
And I was like, okay, if I take a step, I might fall. So I'm like, I gotta wait till he comes closer to me and I gotta hold on. I'm holding on to him. And I'm looking at the ref like, ain't you giving out 8 counts? And that's when I thought, I was like, okay, maybe I need to go back to community college. Okay. That's how hard I got hit, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I've never been hit that hard. Now, I have been hit where I seen white and heard, you know how you watch TV and you fall asleep and it wake you up to this loud black and white sound. And
yeah.
I seen that and I'm like, whoa. And I came out of it and I ended up stopping the guy. And then I've been hit with a right hand by another guy. And I seen nothing but black, but I was throwing up upper 3-2, and I rolled and didn't even know. And when I rolled, I came up, I'm like, whoa, I'm fighting. I didn't even know I was fighting. I said, whoa, I'm in the ring fighting. So I said, I had to make sure I don't get hit by him no more, and I stopped him too, but I've never nothing else out of all the fights, even sparring, you know. My brother, back when I was fighting, when he started me, he used to drop me all the time. But, you know, I was like 8, and he was like 13. So
what age were you when you could finally take him?
When I started winning the nationals, like he was beating me all the way up until I started winning the nationals. I only won 2. Conversation I
only
had.
won 2.
Yeah,
that ain't easy to win nationals, bro.
Right. Well, so this is the problem I have with my son. My son, you know, he got like 5, 6 of them. He was like, Dad, I passed you up. I said, son, don't get beside yourself. I said, because you won it in the kids division. I won it in the men's division. It's a difference. So I said, you do that and
you want the smoke?
Yeah. I said, you do that and then we'll talk.
When I see him, I'm gonna ask him what age he think he is when he think he's gonna take you.
Yeah.
Is this coming?
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Yeah. Skillful. He's much better than I was skill-wise. At his age, you know, like I told him once, I said, you're going to be better than me. And he looked at me, he said, how? I said, because you got me. You got me to show you all of this at a young age. But it took me 40 years to learn. You're going to know all that by the age of 16. So, and he was like, I said, but don't let that get by you now. I said, one problem. I said, you don't have the power that your dad had. I said, but the skill level is elite.
Yeah. What's, not just your son, just fighters in general, because just speaking to a coach, I want other people to know, because there's different coaching philosophies.
Right.
What do you think is like prepares a fighter for a fight? So how many miles do they run? Like how many miles do they run? How many rounds they hit the bag? How often do they spar? What's your kind of?
Well, I tell them, since they're fighting amateur, no more than 4 miles, you know, just 3 to 4 miles. And
any pace, or is that like a sprint?
No. Well, we do sprints at the end of the miles. Like, so if you do 3 miles, then I'll have them to do wind sprints. And instead of stopping, we jog, and then we wind sprint, then we jog, and we wind sprint to try to build that endurance and, you know, open them lungs. And 6 rounds on the punching bag, speed bag, doubling bag, you know, jump roping, and of course shadow boxing piece. And then we do burns on the bag, where I have them to burn the bag for 10 seconds.
For listeners.
We'll hit the bag for 10 seconds where you go lightly, and then 10 seconds you go hard as you can, fast as you can, then 10 seconds light, 10 seconds hard as you can, and we do that for 2-3 rounds. And that really opened up the lungs. So if when they get to the point to where they can do 3 rounds of that, then when they get in a fight, you'll never throw that many punches in a fight. So, but of course, the fight is still different because it's here as well.
And someone's hitting you.
Right, and somebody's hitting you.
You can flex on a bag.
So well, that bag ain't punching back.
Yeah.
And we spar like 2-3 times a week, and sometimes I'll have them to spar more because you don't really get hit that much. So, if you're not getting hit, you can pretty much spar every day. Because I used to spar almost every day because I never really got hit. Now, if I'm in there getting pummeled on, and I'll be like, okay, yeah, let me take a week off and I'll get my head right and come back and do it again next week. But, yeah, man, you can spar as much as you want as long as you're not getting hit.
Yeah, I sparred quite a lot. I used to think, my philosophy was I can hit the heavy bag and develop a bunch of bad habits and the bag don't hit me back. Or I can just spar. Mm-hmm. And because
James Toney.
Defense was my thing, all I did was spar.
Right.
I rollerbladed for cardio. I would just rollerblade and spar. Now, if I couldn't find sparring, I'd, of course, hit the bag.
Right.
But to me, because I wasn't getting hit, sparring was always number one because it's the same movement, the same muscles,
it's
the same
real
energy.
time.
It's real time. Mm-hmm. And consequences.
Right.
You get punched in your face, you think twice.
That's right. That's right. Make you fix it.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of people who do boxing workouts to just for fitness wise.
Yeah.
You were Mr. Title for a while.
Yeah. I was actually the very first trainer that they ever had when they first. Well, I don't know. Danny wasn't going to hire me because I worked at I was a manager at this male place called KC Presort, and they said you had to be there for training at Title at like 5 o'clock on the dot, which means I couldn't get there at 5 because I left work at 5. So when I get there, he was like, okay, well, I wanted to let everybody know if you can't make it here for the training, then you might as well not show back up. But I kept going because I had a couple of people up there telling me, just keep coming. So I kept going. And so when they had a demonstration of what everybody would do, they was like, okay, how would you run a class? Everybody said what they said. And when I got up and said what I said, and I was like, everybody grab a partner. And I showed them a few things, and everybody started clapping like, whoa.
You must have did this before.
Yeah, whoa, this is real nice. So the owner was Danny, and Tom was the owner, but Tom was the money man, but Danny had the idea. So Tom was like, okay, who would like to start the first class tomorrow? So I started hiding behind the bag. I was hiding behind the bag like, don't pick me. Everybody's laughing at me. And Tom was looking, and he walking through everybody got their hand up. But me, I'm behind the bag, and he walking through, and he walked all the way to the back where I was, and he looked around the back and said, Melvin, what about you? How would you like to take the first class, start the first class? I said, okay, we'll do it. Started the first class, man, and everybody only pretty much came to my class, and like I blew up, and that's why I'm where I'm at today. I'm like, okay, if I'm doing it like this, then people like me.
Oh yeah, I was out here getting love, newspaper, all this, and every time someone found out I boxed, like, Melvin.
Yeah.
Everyone in Kansas City was going to Title Boxing.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So that I got a pretty big name, from doing that. So I'm like, you know what? I think it's about time I do my own thing since I seem to be so loved, and did that, man. And I'm glad that I did. That was the best thing ever.
And the thing is, pound for pound, right?
Pound for pound.
That's where you started.
Yes, sir.
One more time. Where's that?
10324 Maston Street off 103rd and 69 Highway.
Cool. So, what should someone know about coming to your gym the first time? First of all, what are your hours?
My hours is
what are the hours to your gym?
The hours of my gym is from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday, and Sunday 1 to 3:30 p.m. Now I'm always there Monday through Friday around 11:30, 12 to like 2:30, and then I go pick my kids up from school, and I come back 4:30, 5, and they're all night. A lot of times we get out of the gym like 10, 10:30, or 11, depending on how many people is there. So it's going down, man. And
so if someone's if a kid's watching this right now and they're like, hey mom, check out this clip, I can go down to pound for pound. What would the parents need to sign their kid up?
They just need to bring them there. I got everything that they need there. I got the hand wraps, gloves, and all that. All they need to do is just show up, and we take it from there. We get them started.
So what could you walk me through? So I'm 13 years old. It's my first day in the boxing gym. I walk into pound for pound. What happens?
Well, you walk in the pound for pound. We get you signed up, and then I'll probably have you to start off with the jump rope. You know, everybody does that. And before they shadow box, I don't let them do their boxing on their own because you know they don't know nothing. So I get them in the ring and I show them the basics, and I put them on the bags and have them to do a class, which is on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6:30. We do like a group class, making sure their punches is right, their stepping is right, and on Fridays we actually do boxing drills, so it's a little bit different. Where we may throw punches, have a kid to catch it or fade it and come back with another punch, you know, just to get their skills up to par. But on Mondays and Wednesdays, it's like a high intensity, you know, fitness class, boxing class, you know. So it's making sure the kids is getting endurance because, you know, you can train the kids and tell them, hey, go run or go do this. And a lot of times they don't do it. So I do these classes to make sure that they're in shape because there are a lot of you, man. And get in that ring, you'll be like, how you tired?
So my problem with fighters, like back in the day was, not back in the day when I was fighting, which is back in the day, I guess I'm old now too, is dudes would think they were getting away from something. Like when the coach turns around, they don't work as hard. Or they say, yeah, I ran 4 miles this morning. I know they didn't run.
Right.
And it's like, what I love about boxing is you can lie as much as you want, but when that bell rings,
and you're going to be able to tell it all.
When that bell rings. And the greatest thing about boxing for me is that if you can train yourself to do something difficult, to run, to hit the bag hard when no one's looking, to have that personal accountability, once you leave boxing, and then even Lil Melvin, let's say he retires from boxing and he gets a normal job, right? He trained himself to wake up early before school, before work, to go run 4 or 5 miles.
Right.
Wait till he stops sweating, shower, and then start your day. When you're done with boxing and you just have to start your day, life becomes so much easier.
It's so much easier.
When you do difficult stuff, everything else becomes easy.
That's right.
And boxing is one of the most difficult things you can do.
It is most definitely the most difficult thing you can do, man. I trained some of the Kansas City Chiefs players, and they come in, they be like, wow, this is way harder than practice, football practice. I get guys that come in, they do soccer, they be like, oh, I'll be like, well, you're going to get tired, because some of them be like, how long was the session? I'll be like, oh, it's going to be about 30 minutes. They be like, that's it? I'll be like, you're going to be so ready to go. Well, I run the field, you know, I do soccer, so I run all day long. I said, this is a different ball game. I get them in there after the 4th round. They like, hold on, man, can I take a break? I'm like, nah, no breaks. Yeah, you asked for this. I'm going to give you all of that. So, and most of them don't finish, you know, at least they first few times. It's something you got to get used to. If you ain't used to it.
Yeah. You take a break.
You're going to understand real fast.
Oh, another thing with a lot of guys who come into the gym for the first time is they think they already know how to fight.
They think they know.
No, man. I've been street fighting. Like I'm undefeated on the streets. I'm like, yeah, street fights last 15 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
You come in there and you get hit with that glove, and you hit somebody with that glove, he's gonna hit you back. And you're gonna be like, whoa! If I'd have hit somebody on the street with that punch, he would have been out. Yeah. Well, this is not that.
Yeah. Someone's gonna parry that punch.
Right.
And hit you back to the body.
Yeah, but they don't know nothing. They think they do until they get in the ring, and then you start showing them. Then they be like, wow, man, I don't know nothing.
Puts a lot of things in perspective. My favorite thing is when a dude will come to the gym and he usually. He's a police officer's son suggested that he show up to the gym because he's got anger and issues and all that. And those are my favorite people to come to the gym because you get to see them come in with the chest out, they cocky, and you're like, hey, let's show you how to throw punches. I already know how to throw punches. Like, let's spar.
Right.
And then you find a teenager in the gym to spar a grown man. He's like, yo, I'm gonna hurt this kid. And then you just tell that kid to cover up for 30 seconds, and then you have a 13-year-old child start beating up a grown man.
Beating the crap out of him.
And you realize you can't fight.
Right.
And once I started boxing so I could learn how to fight, and once I learned how to fight, I realized I didn't have to, because most people can't fight.
No, they can't.
Have you seen an NBA scuffle?
Man, like girls.
Bro,
they look like the girls out there.
Just because you're athletic don't mean you can fight.
Nah, I don't.
Or throw a football. I've seen a lot of these opening pitches.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people not as athletic as they seem.
Right.
And neither am I. That was the thing I had going for me is I was unorthodox or awkward or whatever. I didn't know what I was going to do, so if I didn't know, you couldn't have a plan for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You know, I had a guy that come to the gym, and Melvin was at the time, I think, 13, and the guy came in and was like, "I want your best fighter in here," and I'm like, Okay. I said, I see you kind of small in weight. I said, so I'm gonna put you in there with my son. I said, how much you weigh? He was like 110. I said, okay, my son is I think Melvin was like at like 95 pounds or something like that. I said, I'm gonna put my son in there with you. And he was like, well, he's too young. And, you know, the guy was 19. I said, nah. I said, I know how to stop it. And Melvin beat the crap and dropped him. And when he dropped him, the guy just sat there and just rocked back and forth. And the guy was like, man, I'm done with this. And I said, okay. So a few months ago, Melvin was sparring with a 23-year-old guy and hit him with a jab, cross, and a hook. And he fell face first, bro. Didn't even catch himself. Was knocked out cold. Melvin looked at me and I was like, you're fine. This is what you're supposed to do. So now he's starting to develop the power that I was having back in the day. And he's starting to hurt a lot of people now, man. It's so when they get in there with people that come off the streets, now when they see him shadow boxing or hitting the bag, they be like, nah, I ain't getting in there with him. I ain't getting in there with him. But, you know, most of the guys think they know until they get in there or you put them in there and then they realize, I don't know nothing.
Yeah. So Melvin's 16. Is he going to be sticking around for the Olympics for 2028, you think?
Yes. That's the plan. That's the plan.
So he's 16 now. He'll be 20 by the 2028 Olympics. Does he plan on transitioning to pro after that?
Yes, sir.
So a lot of people who, when they hear about boxing, they think, all right, you got to turn pro. Also, what I hear from a lot of people, because they don't understand that you just signed a piece of paper to turn pro. It's not like basketball. You have to like be good enough to make pro.
Right.
You signed a piece of paper. People come up to me like, yeah, I know you won a lot, but my buddy, he's a professional fighter. I was like, your buddy's 1-3.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And believe me, you can come off the couch and turn pro. You ain't got to have an amateur fight.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a lot of them guys out there like that. Just because you pro, you can fool the world, but you can't fool the fighters, man, and the coaches.
I look at the amateurs as college. So like the more you are in the amateurs, the more education you get, the better your endurance, the better you understand how to take a loss. You start fighting different opponents from all over the world to see different styles.
Right.
And you get degrees. I look at national championships as college degrees.
Right.
And when you turn pro, that's your graduation.
Right.
And it better prepares you to sport, but not everyone has to turn pro.
Right.
And I made the option not to turn pro because it just wasn't really my thing. I like boxing because I got to travel and have fun.
Right.
But your son wants to turn pro.
Yeah, he wants to do it. I mean, and I know he does because when I would walk in the house, man, no matter where he's at, I would walk in the house and I'll just bust in his room and he's in there watching boxing. I'll wake up in the morning and come out in the living room and he's out there shadow boxing. And this is every day. So, and I'll walk up on him plenty of times and he's always watching boxing. He's always studying. And he'd be telling me, hey Dad, you know such and such? I'll be like, no, I don't know who that is. And he knows everybody, you know, fighters from back when I was fighting and all the new fighters. I don't know all the new fighters now, but he knows them all. So he's really deep into it. So I don't have to make him do it. He's doing it because I told him, you don't have to do this if you don't want. Don't do it because Dad did it. I was like, you got to want it for yourself because I can't want it for you. I can't get in the ring and fight for you. And he wants to do it, man.
Did you study fighter? Did you study films of fighters back in the day?
I did. I studied them so much where I used to watch fights. You know, we had VCR tapes. So I would watch the fight all the way through, and then I would watch the fight all the way through in slow motion. And then I would watch the fight going backwards, and my brothers would get mad. You still watching it? Before I was me watching one fight, and I'm up studying, and I'm like, oh, so he slipped it. Not only did he slip it, but he took a half step to the left, and then he came up with the upper. Then he shot it over, and then he rolled, and that's how I got my stuff going. You know what I'm saying? By watching boxing and getting up and mimicking them and writing stuff down. And then when I go to the gym, I'll be like, okay, I'm only going to focus on these two or these three things in sparring today. So this guy may think he's getting the best of me, but I'm only focused on my stick-face stick, or I'm only focusing on fading and coming back with a 2, or I'm only focused on body work today. But they may not know, and I still will conquer them, but I would just only focus on a few things until I get it down packed, and then I move to something different, and then I move to something different, and that's how I build my arsenal, man.
I like that. Conscious sparring. I was a big fan of conscious sparring back in the day because there's a lot of dudes who just get in there to get tired. And when I would spar, a lot of times I would have, let's say I wanted to land an uppercut straight left.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, I want to land 3 of those.
Right.
all I'm doing that's right. You can hit me as much. You can
Right.
do what you
I'm
want.
only focused on.
I'm trying to get these 3 in.
That's right.
And once I get those 3, I'm like, okay, next round I want to be able to get 2 of those in and something else.
That's right.
And that's how it would
That's
work
how you
sparring.
build.
Conscious sparring, developing proper habits.
That's right. That's right. You know, like I tell the fighters, I'm like, you want to get into a bad habit of doing everything right.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you get it right, then you always know you can move on. You know, like when you take a break and you come back, you'll be rusty, but you'll never forget.
It's still there.
It's still there.
Yeah. One of the things I was doing, I realized as a southpaw, so fighting right-handers, most of the time, their lead left would always be coming to me right away. So I decided the only thing I worked on for like 3 months was I would have spar everybody in the gym. I don't care how big, how small you were.
Me too.
You throw a punch, I slip, I throw an uppercut on the jab.
That's right.
I threw that thousands of times.
And it works so much, man.
Now, like when I was fighting, after doing that for a few years, a jab will come at me and I would slip uppercut.
It'll just happen.
It would just happen.
Naturally.
Yeah. Another one of those things is counterpunch drills, where we're standing in front of each other. You throw a hook, I block it, I throw something right back.
Catch and return.
And I was doing that in the gym, and it was annoying because I didn't really like doing that. I always coach myself, but I was trying to work with other fighters because they needed an extra guy, and I would do that over and over and over. And then one time I was in a fight, and someone threw a hook, and I caught it, and I threw an uppercut back. And I immediately looked in my corner like, yo, it worked. It worked. And we got in between rounds like, yo, it worked? Do you see that? And they're like, why do you think we've been doing that?
Right.
Like, yeah,
right.
yeah.
Because it works.
Because it works. So developing these habits. There's a lot of bad habits fighters have. And I think LeBron James ruined a lot of basketball players because they try doing things LeBron does.
That's
Unfortunately,
right.
there's only one LeBron.
That's right.
He can get away with certain things.
That's right.
You're not LeBron.
That's right.
Mayweather has done the same thing.
Man, he done ruined so many because everybody wants to do. So I asked him, I'll be like, why are you even doing it? Why does he have his arm here? Just to see if they know, you know, what it is. And I'll be like, well, they'd be like, well, I just, you know, like Mayweather. I said, but why does he do that? It's a reason why he does that. First of all, his IQ is like out of this world. You know, he's been doing it for a while. Why does he have the arm here? Like, what is it for? Well, it's just, I'll be like, he's protecting the body with that, and he's using the shoulder to catch, or he's pulling back and he's returning off that. I said, but he's been doing this so long, he know what he's looking for. He does that because he's waiting on you to throw a certain punch. I said, but every now and again, you see Mayweather even come back and he'll do this when he realizes he got somebody that's good at fighting somebody here. Then he'll come back and he'll come here. I said, he go back to his bases. You know,
he has basics.
He has basics
to go back to.
He go back to the basics when he realized, oh man, okay, this guy right here is fighting pretty good, so I can't fight you can't fight everybody like this. You gotta know who to fight like that and who to switch it up on.
I just be seeing fighters get just eating right hands.
Man,
trying to look like Mayweather.
Left and right. It's not worth it.
Yeah, it looks cool.
It looks cool.
It looks cool.
If you can make them miss like that, but
even if you do make a miss, you don't get points for making people miss.
That's right.
So it's completely ineffective, and I see fighters develop those bad habits. And Mayweather has ruined so many. Mayweather, Broner, and James Toney out here ruining fighters.
That's right.
Don't know how to slip a punch. My thing in boxing was, like, a lot of people's like, it's hit and don't get hit.
Right.
Wrong. It's don't get hit.
Don't get hit.
And if I can, I might hit you.
And that's what I told myself when I was training. If a guy can't hit you, he can't beat you. So that was my first plan, was to not get hit. And then, you know, the guys if they can't hit you, you know, if you throw a punch, you open somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, so I come out there and I figure them out. I shoot the jab. I didn't always even mean to hit them with the jab. I just throw it just to make them throw a certain something so I can counter punch it. But yeah, it's true, man.
Yeah. You ever still spar?
I haven't sparred. I hadn't been sparring, but every now and again I get a knucklehead to come to the gym and start running their mouth and, well, let's go, coach. And I'll be like, you don't want to do that, you know. And so they'll keep on, nah, let's go. And then everybody in the gym be like, bro, coach gonna knock you out. And so about 3 months ago, I had a guy to come in there and he was begging me to get in there. And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that, man. I'm like, not just that, but I had a couple of drinks. And I'm like, nah, we was in there after hours. And he just kept begging me. And I'm like, nah, man, I had a couple of drinks. And I'm like, and I don't really do that. My hands ain't no good. And I'm the teacher now. And he just kept, well, let's just get in. So the guys was telling him, like, you don't want to do that. And his answer was, well, I'm like 230. He's about 130. What could he possibly do? I said, get your stuff on. And I got footage of that too. And man, I dropped him like 8, 9 times. And I was like, every time you get up, I'm just gonna keep dropping you, you know. And I had to do him in real bad. And now he understands. Yeah. You know, but every now and again, I have to get in there, you know. I'm not the same. I don't train, you know. And I even tell him, like, why you want to spar me? I don't train. You don't see me in there training. So when I got in the ring with him, I'm like, okay, I'm not about to be in here doing all this moving, wasting no time. I'm going to come right after you. And like I said, I'm 140. He's 230. I came right after him. Oh, I know what I'm looking for. I said, I'm just going to smother him, and I'm
he got 45 seconds of energy.
And, man, it was bad for him. So... yeah, and so hopefully I don't have to do it no more. I've had that happen to me about 8 times, and all 8 of them got either knocked out. And I mean, when I mean knocked out cold, knocked out or stopped. Yeah, I had to do it to some people.
Yeah, you got to sometimes. I don't get in there anymore. I haven't been in there in some years, and yeah, I don't even take people serious when they're like, yo, I'm over.
Right. Well, I didn't plan to get in there, but you know what bothered me when he was like,
what you gonna do with your size?
Like, what could he possibly do? He's like 130 pounds, and I'm like, okay, now I got to show you.
I ain't gonna get that work.
You know? But yeah, no, man, people need to stop pushing up on me like that. Like they normally don't, but like every now and again, you get that knucklehead.
Yeah. So the post fight life for me, my plan was to basically collect national championships as college degrees and transitioned into another career, which ended up being speaking. I didn't foresee it being speaking, but ended up being speaking. I'm making a career doing that. And one of the problems I see with our Olympic team is not that we don't have the talent. It's we don't have the experience. Mm-hmm. Because in the amateurs, we don't make any money.
Right.
So a lot of these guys and girls, they get a few fights under their belt, and they have an opportunity to either wait, like Lil Melvin, wait another 4 years to go to the Olympics, or you can sign a contract and make $6,000 in a single fight.
Right.
And that $6,000 looks like so much when you're only making $1,000 a month when you say boxing.
That's right.
And what I want to do is I want to create a lane for athletes to be able to finance their own career. So I'm working with a few different athletes to build their speaking career the way I build my speaking career. Even if you don't acquire the high speaking fees that I have,
right.
Even if you get some cash here and there just for speaking while you're traveling around and fighting, it'll allow fighters to be able to stay amateur a little bit longer.
Right.
Because our average Olympic team was 19 and a half years for the last Olympic team. Mm. And it's like we're fighting guys, the German team, their average age is like 36.
Right.
A lot of their athletes are on their second or third Olympics. Mm-hmm. So when I say it's not that we don't have the talent, we have the experience.
That's right.
And my goal is to keep athletes around a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm. It'll help them out, man. You know, because once you turn pro, you pro. There ain't no going back.
Take some backsies.
You can't go back to amateur.
Are you familiar with these leagues like the TCL? So there's Team Combat League. Marcus and Marcel Davison, they fought in that league as well.
Okay, I've seen that.
It's a pretty cool concept. It's different teams. I think there's like 12 different teams around the U.S.
Yeah. Well, they only do like one round or something like that?
One round. So you get in there for one round. There's like, I think 12 fights, and you each fight one round each. Mm-hmm. And you give it all for that round. So it's exciting.
Right,
it's like
right.
Training is different for them too now because I'm down in Dallas right now, and the Dallas Enforcers, Tony Mack, the boxer, he's the coach. He's a former boxer. He's the coach of that team now. So I'm down there a lot, and I see training for them. They don't hit the bag for 6 rounds. You go 1 or 2 rounds as hard as you can.
Yeah.
Everything it's kind of changed up the way they box.
Right.
But it's the intensity of fighting, but they get paid.
Right.
And you can retain your Olympic eligibility.
Pretty good too.
Bro.
Yeah, I heard about it and I was like, whoa.
I love, because the WSB, I was a part of the WSB back when they first started in 2010.
Yeah.
When we first started fighting, we were getting $5,000 for a win, $1,000 for a loss.
That's big.
We were fighting twice a month, 3 times a month, so it was.
That was good.
And I was still amateur, and we were still able to keep our Olympic eligibility.
Oh, yeah.
Problem is, you turn pro, you lose your Olympic eligibility.
Right.
Second year of WSB, they stopped paying people.
Oh.
It got real shady.
Okay.
But it seems like the TCL is a whole new league. They have nothing to do with WSB. They seem to be well funded, and from what I see from the outside, because they don't pay me or anything,
right.
But it seems to be a well funded program, and they are paying their athletes on time. And trying to big up their athletes through social media and having them have a social media presence. Which brings me to a point. A lot of people. What are your thoughts on Jake Paul?
He's not what people think he is. You know, that's my thought. I think he's really is. He's getting better, and he knows who to fight and who not to fight. You know, he's picking and choosing. You know, and he's doing his thing though, man. You can't hate on what he's doing. Like, he's making a lot of money doing what he's doing, and he's pretty smart at what he's doing. You know, and I actually like what he's doing because now he's signing fighters and he's paying them pretty well, and you know, so he's really doing a good thing. But I don't think he is what some people think he is. You know, he gets out there and he's knocking some of these guys out. Some of them is a little iffy, but you can't hate on him.
In his defense, well, he's starting his career on a world stage.
Right.
Look at your favorite pro boxer. Go to boxrec.com and look at the first 15 fighters they fought. 1-7.
That's
2-14.
That's
They're
true.
building a record. He's just happened to do it on a main stage, so he has to choose famous opponents that aren't as good.
Right.
But he's building his record as every fighter does.
And he's getting better and better.
And he's getting better and
honest.
better. But my favorite thing about him is that he turned the boxing game upside down because he showed the world that you don't need promoters. If you have a strong social media following, you can leverage that to build your career.
That's where I was hitting next.
Now you just don't have to have a jab to be a successful boxer anymore. You don't just have to have defense to be a successful boxer. You need a following. And a lot of people don't realize that.
That's what matters now.
There's some cold dudes out there, and you'll never know who they
You'll
are.
never know, man. It's always been like that in the boxing game.
So I love his approach for promoting it. And people are like, oh, he's annoying. He's a douchebag. Like, if he wasn't, would you notice him? Like, of course he's got to be annoying.
Right.
That's my favorite thing about him.
Right.
I'm a fan. I love what he's doing.
I love what he's doing too. That's why I said I love what he's doing. He's doing a good thing, and you know, he's getting better, man. He's getting better and better. But like you said, he's picking people that's already known and going out there handling his business and making millions of dollars doing it. Like, why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he do it? You know,
Mayweather's out here still fighting Japanese people. And I love it.
They paying him big.
They paying him big. Am I tripping, or did I see Mayweather's going to fight Pacquiao again?
They was talking about that, so we'll see. You know, we'll see. You know, I think Mayweather's trying to cover that. He's trying to cover that O and put it to the side. Like, this what it is. If we fight, it's an exhibition. It don't go against my O. You know, so
Yeah.
But I don't know. You know, I heard about it. But I don't know how true it is.
I wouldn't care to see it.
I'm not worried about seeing it either, man. I don't even tune into none of the other fights that he do no more, you know?
I don't. Maybe I'm just not in that world anymore. It's just like sometimes I wake up and be like, yo, did you know Mayweather fought last week?
Right,
I'm like,
right.
Didn't even catch it.
Right.
Yeah, but Tyson's fighting Jake Paul. You said that some of Jake Paul's knockouts would be like, could be questionable. Some people will say. But I don't think you could pay off Mike Tyson.
Nah.
So it'll be real.
Nah, it's going to be real, but, you know, they got on the 16-ounce gloves. But, you know, a lot of people was talking about that. I said, you know, you can still get knocked out in 16-ounce glove. If I knocked guys out with 16-ounce gloves. I used to wear 22-ounce gloves when I was training because my hands was always messing up. So I tried to get the biggest gloves, and I was hurting people with 22-ounce gloves. So, you know, that's not going to be a problem for Mike Tyson. You know, it's just like, did they have a talk before the fight? Like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go in here.
I don't think you talked to Mike Tyson.
Huh? And I was just about to say, I don't think, even if you do have that talk, I think Tyson going to be Tyson just like when he got in there with Roy Jones.
Yeah.
It was real.
Yeah, and I was excited to see that fight just because it was like two people I respected. You saw from back in the day, and they're still keeping themselves in pretty good shape.
Right.
I thought Holyfield was going to pop up and do something.
Well, he was trying to, but I guess like when they showed him shadow boxing and hitting the bags, he didn't look
A little shaky?
Yeah, it was shaky. So that's why when him and Tyson was talking about fighting again, I was like, please no, because Tyson would kill him right now, and he didn't look nothing the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, Holyfield was sitting in the pocket with you and bang with the biggest guys, and I think that took a toll on him.
A career of that. Yo, I respect him, so I'm not going to mention any names, but I was in Cali, and I was around a lot of older professional fighters. It was like a banquet or something, and there was this dude who saw me. He's like, "Hey, man, Cam," and he like hugged me, and he said something, and he's like, "Oh, how's it doing?" Whatever. And I walked away. 45 seconds later, I turned around, saw him again. He said, "Oh, Cam," and he said the same exact line again.
Wow, it's like he just seen you again.
His wife walked over and just grabbed him by his shoulders and walked him away. And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna work on this defense."
Right. I'm gonna work on this defense, no doubt.
And now I'm out the game.
Right, that's why I focus on defense a lot.
There's only one person who doesn't know there's a punch-drunk boxer in the room.
And that was him.
It's him. So there'd be times in my career like, "Yo, am I tripping? Am I tripping? I just want to make sure I still got it."
Right.
Yeah. Because sometimes you stick around too long. Or when do you know when to leave? Like you were blessed to where your hands took you out the game.
And that's why I say I think that was it was just God's doing. I believe God was telling me, okay, you're gonna do boxing, but it's not gonna be for you. It's gonna be for you to become a coach to teach some other kids and to teach your kids. And you thinking it's gonna be Melvin Wesley. It's gonna be Melvin Wesley, but it's gonna be Melvin Wesley Jr. Not you. So I believe he showed me the ropes so I can properly teach these kids out here that's coming, man. But I think you really realize when it's time is when you know your fighters and you know if something is off about them. And I believe when you realize that you need to let them know. Like, because when I was sparring, I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I forget the guy's name I was sparring with because it'd been years ago. And he was a champion fighting on ESPN, and he was sparring in the gym, and I didn't like how he was beating up no matter who got in the ring with him, he would just tear them up, man. Even if they was like 15-year-old kids, he would get in there and be laughing and playing. So I told my coach, I said, I want to spar with that guy. And he had a fight coming up, and it was televised. And then when we sparred, my intention was I'm not playing with him. Like, he don't know who I am, but I'm going to take it to him. So in the first round, we went out there, he shot a lazy jab, and I came right over the top of it. And I floored him. And he got up. And when he got up, I teed off on him, bing, pop, bing, first round, and caught him with a hook and floored him again. So they stopped it. And he was in the restroom. I went to the restroom, and he was in the restroom, like, shaking. And I was like, try to shake his hand, and he was like, messing. He was like, you hitting too hard, man. We sparring. He didn't speak English.
Yeah.
We're sparring. You hitting too hard. And I'm like, well, you didn't say that when you was beating that little kid up the other day.
Yeah.
You didn't say that when you was doing it to this one kid last week. I said, so I seen you did it to them, so you was gonna try to do it to me, so I beat you to it. So check this out. His fight was like 2 weeks away. And his coach started telling him, I don't think you should take this fight, because he noticed something different about him. And he took the fight and he won. He told his coach, if you're not going to coach me, then I'm fighting anyway. Somebody else is going to do it.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, a fighter knows, a coach knows their fighter,
right?
And as soon as the coach thinks the fighter shouldn't fight anymore, the fighter's just like, I get a new coach.
And I don't know if he meant fight anymore. I just think he was like, I don't think you should take this fight right now because you got dropped, and you got practically knocked out like 2 weeks before your fight. And he was telling the coach, well, I'm not going to use you. I'm fighting anyway. I guess he needed the money. And he went out there and he fought and he won the fight. But after that, he had to go to the hospital, and then it's like he became almost like a vegetable where he had to be in a wheelchair and all of this. So when I went to the gym and I talked to the same coach, and his coach was like letting me know, he was like, I'm going to be honest with you. He said, it wasn't the fight that made him the way he is. I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, I'm not trying to make you feel bad. He said, but you're the reason why he's in this situation, because it happened in training, and I tried to stop him from fighting. He said, because I noticed a difference. Since that day you did that to him, I noticed a difference with him. Every day he just wasn't the same. And he took that fight, and now he's pretty much a vegetable. I felt a little bad, but I'm like, it's boxing. I didn't know that was going to happen. He could have easily done it to me.
Yeah.
So, it's very brutal sport. So you got to know your fighters, man. And if you realize something's wrong, then you got to pull out. Like, you know what? If you're going to fight, then I told you I don't think I'm pulling out, because this ain't, your blood ain't going to be on my hands. I can't, see you go through that, or if something happened and I had to live with that. So you got to know your fighters. And
know your fighters, know yourself. Like, one of a couple of questions I always ask fighters when they get involved in the sport of boxing, I'm like, why are you boxing? what do you want? Finally, what's it going to take for you to leave? That's what's going to take you to leave. One of the best questions I think you can ask a fighter, because at what point do you know when to go? And the thing is, like, once you leave boxing, you're so invested in boxing that you don't realize how much life there is out there.
Right.
And there's one of the people I think about, Tony Mack. He was the guy the coach of the Dallas Enforcers for the TCL. He was a professional fighter. He was 12-0, and he got a detached retina. So Tony Mack is a dog. Like, he's not a defensive fighter. He gonna take whatever you got and give you more on top of that. Tony's a dog, and he got the detached retina, and it forced him to retire.
Yeah. See, a lot of people don't think of that.
Let's say Tony became a world champion. Tony would become a world champion for as long as he could hold the belt and continue to fight on that level until, for the rest of his life, Tony would be like 60 years old still fighting. That's who Tony is.
And that's why I said I think that I'm glad that God did what he did to me, because I probably would have been one of them fighters, man, fighting in my 40s. And it's because I love the game so much.
And it's not even about money. It's you're addicted.
It was my job. I was addicted to it. It was like a drug to me.
Yeah. And then Tony, because of the eye injury, forced him to start, like yourself. Tony started Team Mac Elite Fitness, a gym down in Dallas. His gym's blown up, multiple locations. Tony's the man. But he wasn't able to be the man through boxing because he was taken out. But again, boxing allows you the ability to do other things with your life, because you already know what doing something difficult is. So like starting a gym, don't seem that hard. And I'm sure people come to you all the time like, yo, I tried to start a gym, it didn't work. Because it's difficult. But not as hard as boxing.
That's right.
And that's why I think boxing is a great sport to put your kids in. And if you out there looking for your kids to join a boxing gym, tell them the name of your boxing gym one more time and where it's at.
Pound for Pound Elite Boxing Academy, 10324 Maston Street, right off 103rd and 69 Highway.
All right. And for more information about boxing gyms in the Kansas City area, or how you can be a judge, a volunteer, or a coach, zero experience necessary. We'll do all the training. We just love to have more people contribute to the sport. You can check that out at kcgoldengloves.com or KC Golden Gloves on social media, or you can find me somewhere on social media, Cam F. Awesome. And this is the Gloves Up podcast presented by the Kansas City Golden Gloves. I'm Cam F. Awesome. We out.
No doubt. Oh, God.